Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, fellow members of the legal tech community. I just want to thank everybody again for joining us to Neota's official APPy Hour. I hope you like to play on words there. But on today's segment, we're going to be joined by Andrew Medeiros of Pepper Hamilton to discuss how he and Pepper Hamilton specifically have overcome any obstacles or disruptions caused by COVID-19. His thoughts on the whole legal landscape and the industry and how it may change. Also, how embracing no-code solutions such as Neota Logic platform may have aided that process. So feel free to say hello, Andrew. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a very formal introduction in a matter of seconds, but feel free to say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Perfect. Thank you. So Andrew, I'll keep it simple. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you, representing Pepper Hamilton, an American law firm founded in 1890 with more than 425 lawyers and 14 offices across the United States, using unique skills and the talents of their people, the breadth of their practices, and depths of their experience to deliver powerful solutions to clients' legal and business issues. Ranked among the 100 largest firms by revenue in the US, and one of the 100 most prestigious firms according to Vault surveys of the legal industry, Director of Practice Solutions, Andrew Medeiros. Thank you again, Andrew, for coming. We greatly appreciate it. So to kick things off, how are you doing? How are things going in your end of the world?
We're getting on. We're doing adjusting to the new normal, as we like to call it. Figuring out how we can get the most value for our clients while staying as far apart from each other as possible.
Absolutely, you got to practice that social distancing. So I think that's the key here. But I know there was big news on your end with regards to the Troutman Sanders and the Pepper Hamilton merger. So that was supposed to be effective April 1st. So a little bit of background for our listeners and anybody tuning in. It would have essentially been a new law firm. I think it was easily referred to as Troutman Pepper. The idea was that at that point, there was going to be 1,100 attorneys in 23 offices across the country. You would have had an office in 8 of the largest US markets as well. And to quote your website directly, Troutman Pepper would have offered will, I should say, offer a deeper bench, increased resource, and an expanded geographic footprint. So can you give us an update on that, when that merger may be happening? I know it was, again, currently scheduled for April 1st, but we
were really looking forward to that April 1st merger date. Myself and our CIO at Pepper, Will Gauss, had traveled down to Atlanta to meet with some of the different staff teams and kind of get adjustment and acclimated and talk about how we were going to bring our teams together for our clients, the first or second week of March. And then we get back and everything's kind of blowing up. And so we started working remotely, and it became clear that April 1st just wasn't going to make sense. So now that we've kind of all gotten settled in working from home, been able to sort of pick back up right where we left off. And now we're targeting July 1st. So end of Q2, beginning Q3 for that merger to finally go through and for us to really be able to hit the ground running.
Sounds good. Well, I think we're all anticipating the July 1st date is going to come sooner than later. So hopefully that'll all be a success, and we're looking forward to that.
It's coming up faster than we think.
I know, right? It's unbelievable. But nevertheless, with all of these disruptions and everything that has been caused by the COVID-19 pandemic or situation, if you will, there's a lot of terms I've been heard thrown around the industry, those being legal innovation, digital transformation, change management, and you actually utilized the term earlier, the new norm. Legal innovation, as you may know, is really just embracing the changes with specific focus to digital solutions, whether that's going to be digital technologies like AI or data analytics, maybe even some automation or more. So in this regard, how do you feel your industry may change, if at all? It may not, you may feel that there may not be any changes, but what do you picture that new norm looking like, in the near future?
Yeah, I think we're kind of living it now. When I first started in legal technology coming out of law school, I was working for Ron Stout at Chicago Kent. We wrote a paper about the project we were doing. And to kind of start that off, I was researching some of his old work. And he used to do a survey of all the big law firms in Chicago back in the 90s of how many computers they had per attorney. And it started out with the big mainframe and then the individual research portals sort of on each floor. And this idea of a computer on every desk was a dream. And it was not something that anybody was really contemplating. And then now we look at where we are today, where before this all happened, all of our attorneys had 2 or 3 computers on their desks. When you think about their
Yeah.
laptop, their iPad, their cell phone, it was just everywhere. And now we've gotten to the point where they don't even need to actually be at their desk for now 2+ months to still be able to work remotely. And that's sort of, in my mind, the new normal, being able to work from home consistently over and over again and not really miss a beat and not really miss that step of coming to the office. And it feels like a shock and a whirlwind to sort of get there and be there. But it's important to kind of reflect back and realize that we're really 30 years in the making of getting to this point, to be able to support our attorneys all working from home.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's all about adapting. Like you said, things happened so quickly and, people may not have been prepared for it, but everyone's adapting in that same boat and really just kind of rolling with the punches. But it's great to hear that there really weren't any disruptions on your end. And as everybody can tell, you're logging in remotely from your virtual office or living room. I'm currently at my office, AKA dining room table. But again, everybody's in it together and we just got to kind of stay positive and roll with the punches. So it's good to hear that, there were not really any disruptions essentially caused by everything going on in the world. So that's some positive stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of the adjustment for us was more around the paperless than the remote work. We'd always been moving towards being more paperless over time, but the first couple days of adjusting to, all right, I have to read everything on the computer. I can't print things out. That was more, I think, the bigger adjustment for everybody initially.
Absolutely. No, it's a good point. Yeah, I apologize. I should have picked up on that as well. So knowing that, you're a recent subscriber to Neota, and we discussed earlier, it may have been early January, possibly February. So very quickly, for those who may not know what Neota is, probably should have opened with that. Neota is just a no-code or click and drag platform that enables you to build digital solutions. So those digital solutions may be built around the automation of expertise knowledge, perhaps any business and legal processes, workflows, and also documentation. So knowing that, whether your purpose or initiative was to create efficiencies where they currently don't exist, generate some type of revenue, what apps have you essentially created since joining with Neota?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for us was trying to be able to do new things, trying to be able to solve new problems. So towards the end of last year, a couple of our attorneys in California approached us about wanting to build a solution for CCPA, the California Consumer Protection Act, I think. Should have looked that up before.
I think it's privacy, but we'll take it.
Privacy, there we go, Consumer Privacy Act. But so trying to build a solution for that to allow their clients to sort of distribute the data collection process and distribute the process of responding to questionnaires about what individuals and what individual applications were doing to store customer data and to store really data in general. So we knew we needed a sort of a new tool to do that, and I had worked with Neota in the past. So we brought Neota in to build out that application. And then actually from there, it really adapted and evolved over time to become sort of this more general privacy intake that we've used with other clients, just to sort of evaluate all of their privacy policies, not even just around California or the California Consumer Privacy Act, but just around their general privacy standards. We've been able to sort of roll that out to them there too.
Perfect. Yeah. And it sounds like, when you have that initial use case or even an MVP, based upon once you roll out that iteration or that particular product or version, you'll say, sometimes that application starts to grow. As you said, it was originally just California, then it started to become just overall, and then encompassing other states. So one app becomes 2, becomes 3, and it kind of just builds upon that. But just knowing that, and kind of the success you may have had with that application previously, are there any that you have in your pipeline, or you're kind of looking to build or are currently building?
Yeah, the one that excites us the most is the app that's going to help us build more exciting apps. We're building one right now. The majority of our work still resides in the client collaboration space. So we spend a lot of our day deploying high-Q sites to allow our clients to collaborate with our attorneys sort of more dynamically. And a lot of those sites are becoming repetitive, to be completely honest. We've been doing it for a year now. There's a large percentage that are mostly just file shares. They're just a files library that might have some bells and whistles, but for the most part, they're sharing documents back and forth. And then in certain practice areas where we've built out specific iSheets to share data back and forth, or maybe some calendars or tasks lists, they're getting pretty consistent across the board with different clients because the same attorneys like to use the same processes. So we are currently building an application that will allow our attorneys and our paralegals to go in and create their own HiQ sites from specific site templates using Neota Logic. So they'll go in, they'll select what template they want, and they'll decide what other users should be added to the site, and they'll go through, answer questions on 3 or 4 pages, and then we'll use the API integration between Neota Logic and HiQ to actually create the sites, create the security groups, add the users to the right groups, and then send out the invitations. And we think that's going to free us up to then start working on more and more of the new and novel solutions rather than deploying the same types of sites over and over again.
Absolutely. I mean, that sounds like a great use case. It's actually the first time I'm hearing of it. So I'm excited to see that when that comes out. So best of luck with that, and I think I'll kind of just ask one more question, further to that point. So what is your thought process, or how do you essentially decide what projects you're going to take on? So what does that process look like, whether it starts with the knowledge engineering or really just kind of gathering all the minds together to see where you might create those efficiencies, how you can essentially automate any processes that may not have automation currently. As you mentioned, integrating with third-party vendors or platforms, machine learning programs. So what does that process kind of look on your end when you're going to partake into creating an application?
Yeah, I mean, our process really starts with our attorneys and our clients. Whatever sort of ideas they have, our goal is to support them in that and come up with unique solutions. So we really rely heavily on our attorneys and our clients to come to us with their challenges, and then we will pull from whatever resources we have or whatever resources we know are out there. I like to say I never turn down a demo. Just to understand what other platforms are out there that we might be able to pull in. It might be, a year or 2 later that I finally get to have the right problem that I can actually rely on that solution for. But we'll file it away and we'll come back to it later and roll it out for our attorneys when they finally do need it.
Sounds good. It's clear and concise process. So thank you for that. So you actually reminded me of something I wanted to bring up earlier. So you had just mentioned the word resources. So again, we were talking about the disruptions that were caused with COVID-19 and everything in that regard. So I did note, looking at your website, that Pepper Hamilton and Troutman Sanders actually developed a dedicated resource center that essentially guide your clients through the global health challenge, presented by, again, the coronavirus. So I noted on your website, if you wanted to find more news or recommendations from health professionals and tools in the businesses that can use free of charge, be sure to visit the COVID-19 Resource Center located on your website. So I think that actually concludes this Neota's APPy Hour. Typical to true life happy hours, if you will, you may raise a glass or toast a peer or colleague. So I will actually raise my swell bottle filled with water straight from the tap, I must say. I thank you. Stay safe and well. And again, thank you for your time. And I hope everything continues to go well for you on your end.
Thanks, Dennis.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one. For further information regarding Neota, please visit our website at neotalogic.com, or feel free to reach out to myself at Rasmussen@neotalogic.com via email. Thank you.